This
Everyone, and
conference
welcome
will
to
now be
the
recorded.
good evening and welcome to the Getting Started webinar. It's great to have you guys on. This is an exciting time and really important stuff we're going to cover here today to get you started into the IP Access Home Center and really what to do and what steps in order to maximize your involvement here and your benefit to yourself, to your company, and to the community at large. We have with us Brian Cowling, world-renowned systems and training expert. Hey, Brian. Glad to have you.
Hey, great to be here. It's always exciting to dig in a little bit and spend the time. We talked about it last week a little bit about working on your business instead of in your business all the time. So spending that time to make sure that we're looking at opportunities and strategies for getting to that next level. So we don't always feel like we're stuck in the same rat race and the same pattern over and over. So excited to be here to talk about some of those ideas.
Yeah, that's great. There's certainly a lot of things coming up and a lot of things we're going to do together. We're excited about that. So I'm going to jump right into it here, and we're going to start talking about the groundwork that we need to make sure we have in place here to really maximize our results. So I just want to make sure that everybody that's on the webinar, if you haven't already, just make sure that you have sent your logo and your URL, your website for your business to marketing@vipaccesshomecenter.com, and home center is with an RE. And that's going to be really important because our folks back at the head office are putting everything together onto a magazine and onto landing pages. We're going to talk a little bit about that stuff today as well, show you how that's going to roll out. We're going to talk about a number of things today, which includes how do we refer people back and forth to each other. Of course, that's the bread and butter of this organization is networking and referring business back and forth to each other, using our sphere of influence and our influence in the community to really drive and generate business and send stuff back and forth to each other. So we're going to talk about how to do that really easy using a form that we're going to make sure everybody has access to. And we're going to talk about the landing page and how we can use that landing page to drive traffic to it using a reverse prospecting methodology to generate business and to create leads and quality leads that we can then convert into business, and how we can really do that without our direct involvement. So we actually put the systems to work for us, Brian, instead of us having to do the work ourselves. Is that right?
Yeah, definitely. There really, whenever we're taking a look at any sort of issue, one of the things, Jason, that I know we've talked about before and that we keep in our business is an issues list. So whenever we're going through our business and we feel something that is holding us back, let's say we're doing an activity that seems very mundane and it has to be done, but we don't know how to assign it to somebody else. We don't know how to hire somebody else, train them, or we don't know how to get something to make that happen. We have to look at that as an issues list. So I'm always keeping an ongoing issues list when I find myself doing something like that, to go ahead and write that down, put it, I use a Trello board. I don't know if anybody's heard of that before or uses something similar. It's basically kind of like just having a notebook, except instead of writing it down, you're keeping it and you can organize it. So on that issues list, there's always two different paths that you can follow to solve an issue. One of them is with people and the other is with processes. So we all understand that people-heavy businesses are problematic. So processes are very important to make sure that a business is never totally people dependent. Let's say you have somebody working a specific job and then they get sick, they get in a car accident, they're out for a week or two. If a process is not in place, you could be in big trouble until that person comes back. So I think it's very important as we start to dig into this to understand the role that systems are going to play, the role that software is going to play. It's not necessarily here to replace the people, but it's there to organize the jobs of the people. So let's go ahead and say that I have 3 different admins that are responsible for doing 3 different sets of tasks. In my system, I want anybody to be able to log in to the person's login on any specific day and be able to see what they are supposed to do if they're sitting at that desk taking the place of that person. So I think that's kind of what we want to look at today are some of those systems and processes that help us be efficient to make sure that we're not spending time at our desk instead of our clients. Is that right, Jason?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly, it's how do you look at your business and make your business a systems dependent business as opposed to a people dependent business. That's great advice. Not being caught off guard by different staffing changes or various things when someone isn't able to complete a function. You have a system that jumps in and takes care of that. So that's definitely a great way to run your business and to look at it from the inside out that way. We're going to look at the first thing is what the magazine looks like. I've taken some samples from what we've created already, and I'm going to share my screen with everybody here just to show you what that looks like. We've got the affiliate directory here. So here's an example just from one of our locations in Oshawa here. We've got a number of different ads. This magazine in digital format is going to be going out to all of the members of the community that join our movement, and as well as all of our affiliates and their customers and client lists, friends and family, things like that. We'll share it. We'll have links to be able to share on Facebook and Twitter and social media and really get it out there. So what we're doing here is we're creating a massive movement of people to rally behind all of our collective services. And you look at this is the magazine from some of the affiliates and the ads that we're putting out there. And it'll, of course, come with a directory. We've taken just pieces of it here to show different affiliates. So it's really a good-looking magazine in digital format. You'll be able to flip through it, various things like that. And we've got some examples from Niagara as well that have been put in here already. And that magazine will be ready to go out this month. We'll be sending that to everybody. It's also being hosted on the main webpage, which is right here, VIPaccesshomecenter.com. And on that main site, I just want to make sure everybody knows where they can go to see their page and to also other pages. If you look here under affiliate, so we're on the main page, VIPaccesshomecenter.com. We go over here to affiliates, and there's a drop down, and there's all kinds of different companies that are affiliated with the centers, and it breaks it down by location. If we want to look at, for example, Sierra Stone, we can just click on that, and it brings up a landing page. Now, Brian, what is a page like this used for? What's the practical application that this can be used for right here, besides the fact that it looks nice? We can direct people to it. What is the practical?
So there's two different ways to think about a web page. And the average way that a business owner is thinking about their web page is just as a, here's who I am. So you put on there, different things like here's where we got started, here's our mission statement, here's why we do what we do. And then they try to, maybe there's if you have any questions, if you want to contact customer service. So it's more of a one-way blind, so to speak, instead of looking at a web page as a lead capture. So if somebody's going to check you out, not only do I want them to know a little bit about who I am, but more importantly, people don't care as much about who you are as they care about what you can do for them, right? So we can talk all day about who we are, but at the end of the day, it comes down to a unique selling proposition. We talked a little bit last week about identifying the top 3 needs that your consumer has and identifying the top 3 fears. And then in relation to those top 3 needs and top 3 fears, what is it that you can start offering to somebody? So an offer would be taking one of those needs or fears. Let's go ahead and say we used an example last week. It's in the painting industry. One of the big fears that exists is that a contractor, like a painter, starts a job, but then it goes on and it never gets finished, or it doesn't get finished properly. So what if I'm giving them a guarantee that our system is such that your home will be painted and completed within 3 days, guaranteed, or we'll give you $500 back, or we'll give you a $500 credit, whatever it is. That's a USP. It's a unique selling proposition, but it's designed around somebody's specific fear. But think about this. They have a lot of painting companies to choose from. Which one are they going to choose? Well, this one right here is saying that they'll have the job done in 3 days guaranteed. Now let's carry that a little further. I can put on top of that guarantee some special conditions. So it can put in a condition to say, hey, if there's an act of God, if there was a flood, a fire, a tornado, something, then this, wouldn't qualify. But if I know that 90% of the time my crew can be in and out of there in 3 days, and that's my consumer's biggest fear, then I'm going to try to put something around that. So in every single one of these locations, I know I'm going to be driving traffic there, and check out. So in this particular one you're looking at right there, Jason, it says see our special promotions on the right. Anytime I'm making an offer, I want to make an offer, and I want what's called an exchange. I want to give them something, and in return, I want their information. So how do I get that? So I can turn my USP into something that I'm going to give them. So would you like a free report on how to make sure that your home is painted correct the first time, every time? And then I would go ahead and say, click here for the free report, and they're asking me for information. Of course, who's going to click on that? Most likely people who are wanting that particular service. So I think a website, thinking about it not just from the standpoint of here's who I am, what can I offer the consumer that is a unique selling proposition where I can in some way get their contact information back, so that they have gotten something of value from me and I have something of value from them, which would be a future customer, or could be a current customer. We could start marketing to them our services and things like that. And it could be as simple as click here for 5% off your next job, for $100 off, for $20 off. It doesn't matter. It just depends on the cost of your service. And a lot of businesses have coupons running in different places. I'm not a big coupon guy from the standpoint of I think most people would prefer to have value than money back. Most of them would like to have their fears relieved. So they want some sort of guarantee based around what their biggest fears are. So I think that's a good discussion to have when we're thinking about what we want to put on this page. That's why the client capture form is there.
So here's one, Brian, that talks just about what you're saying, is that
that's a good example.
Certain fears. This is right here. This is everybody can access this. It's 30daybasementguarantee.com, and 30 is the number 30, so 30daybasementguarantee.com.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a guarantee of your basement being finished in 30 days or less, or it's free. And so one of the concerns people have often in basement renovations is that it's going to take a lot longer than the contractor promised.
Well, let's go ahead and list the fears, 3, 4, 5 fears. So the first fear, a contractor comes in, told me he'd be in and out of here, and I'm going to say the average one probably says 30 to 60 days. And then it's 3, 5 months later. You've heard the horror stories, right? So that's fear number one.
For sure.
Another fear,
one is
lack of quality.
For sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and then you mentioned costs, right? So cost would be they propose one price, and then we start heading down the road, and then the cost goes up, right?
Right. For sure, yeah, those are definitely things, and people making promises. A lot of people make promises to do things. Contractors they're really not regulated like some other industries, and you hear a lot of stories about people taking deposit checks and they never hear from them again. And making promises, but not backing them up in writing or anything. So this 30-day basement guarantee actually in here says they guarantee at the bottom here, number 6, a guarantee their results in writing. So they'll actually put it in the contract that they guarantee what they're telling people. So that's kind of neat. So this sort of hits a home run on answering all those points you're talking about.
It does. And you know what? I would take it one step further. I would take it because I don't see on here, does it have a specific monetary? So here's the thing. When I get down to the end, we guarantee our results in writing. While other companies may promise things, we actually guarantee them in writing and with our pocketbook. If we don't finish your basement within the 30 days, we will give you $1,000. So you could think that on the average basement remodel, maybe your profit is around, I don't know, 15, depending on the size of the basement remodel. Maybe it's around 30, maybe it's around 60, just depending on how many rooms and everything else. Go ahead and take a look at that and say, what percentage of the time do we not hit that 30-day mark? We hit it most of the time. So is it safe to say that we could give this guarantee and probably very rarely, if not never, have to pay out that $1,000? Most likely we could, because we have a very good basement crew. Now, let's put in those conditions. So let's go ahead and throw in if an act of God were to occur. So when they sign the form, it may say right underneath there, so if an act of God occurs, then this doesn't apply. A flood, fire, all of these things. You want to make sure you cover your bases on what are the things that do happen that could keep you from not finishing within 30 days. I'll give you another one. It would be permits, right? So if the city came in,
things outside of your control.
Right, things outside of my control. So whatever those are, make a list of them and say, hey, most of the time we don't have a problem, but should something go wrong with the permits or anything like that, then it may take longer. Maybe it starts on after you get the permits done. So the clock starts ticking once we have all appropriate permits, from the city. So these are all things to think about. How can I put some teeth in this to really just say, well, they're going to give it to me in writing, but gosh, this company said that they would give me $1,000 if they didn't finish within 30 days. Now I'm more motivated to choose you, right? I'm motivated because, Jason, do you remember Domino's when they hit the market? And Domino's, what did they say? Do you remember this?
Yeah, hot and fresh to your door in 30 minutes or it's free.
Okay, so get this. Now you order a pizza from Domino's, but what are you sitting at home kind of hoping? I'm kind of hoping they're 5 minutes late, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It kind of reverses it on itself. I'm more likely to pick them because, gosh, if they don't make it, I get a free pizza out of it.
Right, and really what you're saying here is it doesn't just apply to 30-day basement guarantees, but it has to do with the way that everybody in the center should be thinking about their business. So what are the 3 common problems that your customers or that customers who hire people in your industry encounter, and really building a case around those 3 problems, showing how you solve them, what the solution is, what the benefit is to them, and then guaranteeing
how did you solve those problems?
Them,
yes.
Yeah, and guaranteeing the result. And really that's really, it's a game changer for people, because now this right here answers the question, why would I do business with this basement renovation company as opposed to all other ones? Well, the answers are here.
Right, that's exactly what we're trying to answer. I mean, if everybody, you write that down about your business, put it on the wall and solve it. When people are looking at your company, they have several companies to choose from. Okay, that's the beauty of free enterprise. Of course, many salespeople are relying on their charm. You go on a sales presentation for, let's go ahead and say, a basement like this, and you make a presentation. You leave there going, gosh, I hope they liked me, and I hope my bid was the right bid. Okay, but what if we could go even better than product? Okay, so I'm guaranteeing that at the end of this process, everything's going to be done in a quality manner. Okay, I'm guaranteeing that you're not going to have subpar services, because hey, if you deliver quality, you know what your quality is, and you have your head guy walking through and making sure everything is extremely high quality. Whatever the process you have in place to make sure that's what you're doing, because we're all businesses that put our name and our stamp on the end of it. So what are the 3 biggest needs that your consumer has? What are their 3 biggest desires? And what are their 3 biggest fears? So when we find those, we start to create the problem. Here's the problem. We've identified it. What's our solution as a company? How have we solved that? How does it benefit our consumer? And then can we slap a guarantee on it? But make sure that guarantee, if you can deliver it 90% of the time, you're going to win. But you're also going to give the consumer a reason to come back and say, this is why I'm going to do business with you over and above the other company who gave me the offer. You actually guaranteed it, and you did it not only in writing, but you put some sort of monetary guarantee behind to put your money where your mouth is, right?
And so So going through all the training that is upcoming with VIP Access Home Center, if people are taking proper notes and they're going to implement this stuff into their business, what we're really going to have here is an entire organization of people who are able to demonstrate value and answer the question, why should someone do business with me over and above everyone else? And also including maybe not doing anything at all. So why would they choose me? And I think we'll really be able to do that as an organization. It makes it very powerful. So if we've got a lot of business building tools that are coming in the training programs and in the systems that we invested in for everybody here in VIP Access, it poses the question, well, we've got all this material, we understand the pitch, we understand all of the tools and the training, but my problem, Brian, is I don't have enough people to get in front of. I don't have a big enough audience. So if I just had more people to get in front of, then I'd be able to do more business. And really what I'm going to show here and we're going to talk about next is how do all the people come into the mix? Now, how do we get the attention of the rest of the community? I've got somebody that has a printing business and there's 45 different printing businesses in that marketplace. So how do I stand out? Well, once I get in front of the audience, I'm going to stand out by being able to tell them why I'm different and why that matters to them through the problem solution benefit that we just talked about. But how do I get in front of more people? Well, it happens this way. If you guys want to go to this website is changinglivesandbuildingfutures.com. This is the website that we're going to have in the hands of the public at large. So changinglivesandbuildingfutures.com. And really our vision here with VIP Access Home Center, why we exist is our vision is to create the best and safest community to live, work, and play. We accomplish this by changing the lives and building the futures of those around us. And we need your help to do so, everyone's help. This is the website that goes in the hands of everybody in the public. This is the message. We have business cards to hand out to people to get everybody involved in the movement. And it's very simple. How to get everyone involved is we're out solving real problems in the community. And we're not just talking about it, we're doing it. I often talk about the three types of people in this world. People that say, hey, there's a problem over there with something. Second type of people say, hey, somebody should do something about that problem. And the third type of people, which is our organization, we actually do something about the problem. So we don't just bring awareness to issues. Is that right, Brian? We're not just simply bringing awareness to things. We actually get things done.
Yeah, awareness is an overused word in today's society. People trying to raise awareness. Well, rather than try to raise awareness, what's a plan? It kind of bothers me when people get together in a group and push a whole campaign about raising awareness, because well, what if you spent that same time coming up with a plan for how to actually do something about it, and then spent those same people's time and resources doing something about it? You just see so many opportunities and people stepping up and doing something right in their communities. Those are the things we want to be a part of. So when we're looking, think about this. Most of the time we spend going around and we try to identify consumers that want to buy our product or use our service or business, correct? So what if at the same time we were looking out for all of their other needs? The purpose behind what we're doing is to accomplish some really big things together, but the way we can do that, we could go out there, run a marketing campaign, try to produce some leads and do all of that. But if every single person that was a member of the center, every time we're out there, we have our ears on and we're listening for the needs that people have, we have all of the people right here that can accomplish those things and do them. So what's the return? Well, if we're all doing it, everybody is going to run across somebody that is doing something in my industry, and I'm going to get that referral. So it's just, there's a reciprocation here that's pretty incredible once it starts. When you start to look for and be that type of person that's valuable, we call these people connectors. Most business owners are connectors in a sense, and if you're not, you want to learn to become one. You hear, movies where somebody says, well, I got a guy. Well, at the end of the day, valuable connectors have somebody that does everything, and they have somebody that they can recommend on any level. You probably are thinking about somebody right now that you know that's a connector, that you could ask them anything and they have somebody. That's what you can become, and that's when a business grows. So if you really wanted to read about this concept is in the book called The Tipping Point. It's by Malcolm Gladwell. And it really is fascinating to start to identify how powerful it is to be a connector. He took out into the middle of the country and he put 100 different packages and asked people to get them to New York or Boston. And when all of those packages showed up just randomly by one person knowing somebody that's closer to them than they were, they didn't have an address. They all the ones that got there, most all of them were delivered by the same two people. And you might sit back and say, how is that possible? Those two people were connectors, and everybody that knew them said, well, I can get it to him and he'll get it there because he knows everybody. That's where we start to become valuable to everybody in our network, and they start coming to us because they know that we know people and that we're connected to a very valuable a range of services. If you need a plumber, yes, I've got the best plumber for you. If you need an electrician, I've got that. If you need a real estate agent, you need a mortgage company, you need an investment guy. So we need to start to become familiar with our network and the people that we have to refer to. If we're missing somebody in our network, we'll plug the hole. But that's where we take a look at. Just over 100 different services are generally involved just regarding real estate, the services that people use on a regular basis. So this is sort of a call to action to take a look at our process when we're meeting with people and start to think about it bigger than just the service or transaction that we have. Because if across those 100 people throughout the course of the year, I just got one more referral, just one through the course of a year, that's 100 different referrals if I got one from everybody. If I've got two over the course of the year, I've gotten 200 referrals, 200 more pieces of business. If I'm getting two a month, what if I'm giving out two a month? Then that stands to reason that I should be getting back the same across that big of a network. So this is where the power of the network is just multiplied exponentially when we start to get 100 different business owners, just over 100, thinking in the same way.
That's really powerful. And so really, you know, if you're a printer, you're looking at it saying, well, it's not just printing now. I've got access to everybody. If I'm in landscaping, I've got access to everybody. If I'm a chiropractor, I have access to everybody. And it's really, it really becomes something where we joke in our organization with VIP Access that somebody starts to say, hey, do you know someone that? And before they even get the sentence out, we say yes. Do you know somebody that? Yes, we do. We don't even know what they're asking for, but we know that we have access to it.
Right. But think about becoming that type of resource then. The power of your business has been increased exponentially. More people recognize to call when they need something. They recognize you as the person that has the value.
Exactly.
Definitely a change in the way that you think about your business.
Exactly. And the brand itself, VIP Access, it's being branded out there to the public as the single solution to all life's needs and problems. So anything that anybody needs at all, instead of them having to Google it and try and sort through they're looking for a car to buy, a house to buy, instead of Googling real estate agent or Googling houses and looking at all the different options, who do I pick? There's 12 people and there's different ratings and there's this and that. All they have to do is come to VIP Access Home Center, and we've already pre-screened and selected the best people in the industry to become that position. So we've already done the heavy lifting.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what you need.
Let's take it a step further. We're doing it in different cities and different locations. So we're taking a look at not just one city, but let's start branching out to say, hey, in the next city, what if there was an entirely different, the average range of a business is going to be, let's go ahead and say a 30 to 40 minute drive, right? Depends on the area. But the next city over, we're creating networks in every city. So let's say you have somebody that's hours away in another city, there could be a VIP Access network there. That's what we're on a mission to do as we continue to expand and grow this network all across North America.
That's right. That's right. It is a lot bigger than just one local center. And really, to get members of the community involved, it's very simple. To date, I haven't had anybody say no to this. I just simply ask 3 questions of everybody that I come in contact with. And these questions you guys should all memorize and be able to ask everybody you come in contact with. This is not a sales pitch to sell your business service. This is a pitch to get people involved in a movement to make the community a better, safer place to live, work, and play. And it's very simple. If you could do something great for your community, would you do it? Would you do it for free? Who else would you bring with you? Those are the 3 questions that you ask anybody, friends, family, anybody you come into contact with, because those 3 questions right there are the people that are going to answer them. Obviously, yes to the first one, overwhelming yes. Would you do it for free? Yes. The reason that question's in there is we're not looking for people to provide their business services for free within VIP Access Home Center. What we're saying here is that when we come into contact with a member of the public, would you volunteer your time or would you do something for free to make your community better? Well, the people that say yes to that, those are the people that you want to associate with. You know, if people say, well, no, I don't really care about making my community a better place, we just move on to the next person. We're not interested in having that person part of the network anyways. And who else would you bring with you? It's amazing. I ask those questions. You know, I would say I would do that in front of a mayor. I would do it in front of in that situation and say, who else would you bring with you? And right away, the mayor says, well, you need to talk to so-and-so, the head of the hospital foundation. And, oh, we should have a meeting with the chief of police. We should have a meeting with a member of parliament or a member of the House of Representatives in the United States and various things like that. And it's amazing the power. Brian, why don't you go ahead and tell the story of how quickly the network grew in Atlanta in a matter of a day or two.
Yeah, so just getting in front of the right people, what we've found is generally you're usually not more than one person away from somebody who is an agent of change in your city. So sitting down with one friend and discussing who are the people we need to talk to within one person, we're all the way to the mayor of Atlanta, the top donor in Atlanta, and the head of the Boys and Girls Club in Atlanta, who are all connected to the board, everybody that sits on the board, right there in the person's cell phone. So we just started asking, what are the things that need to be done in this city that everybody has trouble accomplishing? And we get a list of several different objectives, projects that people have been trying to push. So think about now, if we can go mobilize our network and our people around those causes, the referrals are just astronomical when we start thinking about how many people want to be part of what we're doing. So rather than just run out there and say, let's go ahead and say my business is real estate, and I'm always trying to push and sell real estate to the people around me, hey, send me referrals. Instead of doing that, what if I asked them these 3 questions that Jason just put out here and then had them in my network to be able to offer them services much greater than just real estate? Whenever you need anything, I can refer it to you. It makes us a more powerful entity. It makes each business more powerful in and of itself because we're not looking at just providing one service. We don't just have one thing to sell. I can help you with any of these services. So Jason, when we start looking at this, we're really looking at combining the powers of communities and the people in the communities, the business owners who are generally our connectors, and the politicians. So if you run into people and you start asking these 3 questions, how do we get them? We've got an interface for being able to add those people to the network as a consumer, correct?
That's right. So this page right here on changinglivesandbuildingfutures.com, everyone will be getting business cards. You can pick them up at your local VIP Access Home Center, and you get them in the hands of everybody, and it has the link to the website. The pitch to them, very simply, is you ask those 3 questions. If you could do something great for your community, would you do it? Would you do it for free? Who else would you bring with you? And encourage them to sign up to become part of the movement to make the community a better, safer place to live, work, and play. So when they go to this landing page right here, there's your referrals change lives and build futures. Here's the page for them to fill out to become part of the movement, and they can refer others as well right there. Just say, well, who else would you bring with you? Oh, well, you should talk to this person as well. They can put their information in. This will then give them access to the VIP Access Home Center page where they can see all of our affiliates. And the message that they receive when they register from us is to the effect of, these affiliates that are in here are united with you to make the community a better, safer place to live, work, and play. We're going to support each other. So imagine what we were just talking about a few minutes ago in Atlanta. So with the change agents that we've been able to secure already in a matter of a 48-hour blitz of communicating that message, we could in essence have them invite their networks, and we could put on a presentation to 10,000 people inside a stadium, as an example, and give them real problems that we're going to get involved with in changing and things like that. That's how quickly movements can ramp up and become. So if there's 10,000 people part of the movement that are all interested in making the community a better, safer place, what are some of those things? What do some of those things look like? Well, it could be as small as assisting a seniors residence. We've talked about the initiative we did in Bowmanville, some great work done by the Oshawa VIP Access Home Center, where we identified a community need that there were not enough televisions, and they didn't have access to televisions actually in this seniors residence. And they tried to get it on the budget, and they weren't able to. So the seniors were going without televisions, and we found out we were able to put a campaign together and bring a number of televisions over to that center and put them up on the walls, and now they have access to television. So that's just a small, simple example, but it makes a big difference in the community. So when you're doing things like that with the group, you've got a lot of people want to get involved, they just don't know how. Well, we're the vehicle to show them how to do that. And it's really creating some pretty neat things. So that's the form right there that they can fill out to become part of the movement. Now, what happens when they fill it out, members of the public, they will receive information on upcoming events in their area that they can get involved in. So some of our events that we have and initiatives that we're doing, they can volunteer for taking part in some of those initiatives and helping out with things like that. So we're really doing some great things together. So we've talked about how to bring in members of the public, and now I'm just going to switch over to, we have a referral form internally that we'll make sure we get sent out to everybody. And this is the VIP Access Home Center referral form template. So it's to refer internally between business owners as you get to know each other. You're going to fill out this form, and it just comes with the information that's required in order to maximize it, the effectiveness. We have the name of the customer being referred, phone number, email address. What service does the customer require? So they're looking to have their roof repaired. Okay, what's the approximate value of that referral? Just for statistical tracking, we want to know the approximate value. Roofs go for about $7,500 in the Toronto area on average. Who's the person making the referral? So this is where your name goes. And notes to explain the nature and context of the referral. So I met John at a coffee shop. I've known him for 20 years. We were having coffee, and John mentioned to me that his roof was leaking and he's going to have to go repair it this weekend. So I said, well, you need to call the particular roofing company and just put the details in there about that to help the person who's receiving the referral. When you click the submit button, we'll come into head office, and that referral will then be outsourced to the affiliate in the location where the referral is being made. Now, each referral form, when it comes out, has its unique coding to the specific center, so you don't have to worry that the roofer from Toronto is going to call the person in Atlanta that needs a roof repaired, or Niagara, or various places. So we'll take care of that. It has a unique coding. So that'll be made available to everybody. We'll make sure you know how to access that form. It'll also be posted once we have it there. It'll be posted inside here as well under the affiliates tab for being able to make referrals. That's in there. Another thing I wanted to cover off today was is how we really maximize the membership of VIP Access Home Center. So it's one thing, it's very important to be on the webinars, the coaching and training. It's important because that's where we really get updated on a lot of the newest things that we're doing and get the best training to help you in your business no matter where you are, whether it's a startup or you've been in business 30, 40 years, or anything in between, whether you're a sole proprietor or you have staffing. Our training will cover everything as it rolls out, but also to attend to the center itself and get to know your other affiliates. So it's really important that you take the initiative to get to know your other affiliates, tell them about your products, learn about theirs, so you're able to really maximize your relationship with the center. You get to know each other. People are more likely to refer as they get to know each other. So that's really important to do that, to come by and participate in getting to know people at the center and reaching out and contacting other affiliates in your area, and just really continue to build that way. I think that's covered most things for today. Brian, do you have anything else to add?
No, I think we've covered a lot of good ground, both some specifics on the web pages themselves, the referral forms, but conceptually, when we're thinking about our businesses and ways to market, we already know that the easiest lead to convert to an appointment into business is one that's been referred. When I pick up the phone or when I tell somebody, hey, here's my basement guy, and I make the connection through this software, somebody's calling on behalf of this VIP Access Center, which really across the board is going to connotate a quality, a high-end experience, the best experience that you can have. Without still costing the market price. Everybody here provides a high level of service. We want to put our name on the end of it at the end. So conceptually, I think it's a good conversation that we've had today to start thinking about our businesses differently. Oh, I like this one. This is a good one here. We clean your home as if it were our own. That is probably addressing one of the biggest fears that somebody would have, or the biggest problems that they'd have with hiring somebody to clean their home. It's just not done very well, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
They come in and do a sloppy job.
Yeah, so in building out, if we look at somebody who we would want to, let's go ahead and say we've talked about a little over 100 people being part of this. I guess the last conversation would be, if you have somebody that you'd like to refer into the network that provides incredible service and great quality with their product, we want to set up what's the best way to set up an interview to try to add that person as the exclusive provider for that product or service in the network?
Yeah, I think they could. There's a number of ways it can be done. It can be done through one of these forms here, through a referral form itself for other people. You can drop us an email at marketing@vipaccesshomecenter.com. No problem. We'd love to talk to them. The more people we have as part of the network, the more we'll be able to do as a group. It's really comes down to that. So there's one other thing I just wanted to mention, Brian. When people are on these webinars, what's the best way to be set up? When I say set up, is it listening to it in your car? Is it sitting somewhere with a notepad? What do you recommend for people to not only be set up in a position to capture what we're saying, but really how do you then take that and implement it?
Well, it's a little bit different than just, let's say, listening to a book on tape. If we're talking about specific business issues that can be implemented, I'll tell you what I like to do is I like to have two different screens when I'm watching a webinar, where I can be watching the webinar on one screen and maybe be on the second screen practicing what it is that we're learning about. So I think one of the best tools that can make you more effective sitting at your desk is having a second screen, because you can be doing effectively two things at once. I can be watching the webinar and then putting, while I'm watching it, something that we're looking at in place, or be working on it to see the functionality of it. I know people that have 3, 4, and 5 screens on their desk, where they're trying to keep multiple things going at once to be more effective. Multitasking is one thing, but if you find yourself losing time to switching between screens a lot, the other aspect of watching in the car, if it were the only time that I had to be able to go ahead and internalize a webinar. But with some of the things we've shared today, there's visual on a webinar too. So I think I would keep my audio, things that are just audio where I'm learning something, maybe a book on tape or something else, to the car, and I would try to be sitting at my desk to schedule time to work on my business versus just in it.
Yeah, that's great advice. You know,
Yeah.
this website really, some of the things you were talking about today for different business owners,
Mm-hmm.
with offering reports and things like that. If you look on this site, there's a lot of stuff here, for buyers, for sellers, in real estate. There's a lot of stuff built out with real estate. There's some reports that maybe are transferable to other businesses as well. Here's
Well,
one:
a lot
divorcing
of
the home.
great ideas. Yes, a lot of great ideas when you're talking about free reports. When you think about the consumer, this is a big problem that happens. I mean, we already know that 50% of all marriages end in divorce. Why wouldn't we be offering a free report? We know that half of the population is going to deal with this issue. So, how to avoid costly housing mistakes? Empty nester, another big thing. We know that there's a significant percent of the population that is going to get old. I think all of us are, right? So, empty nester is just something that's going to happen. So, how to sell the place that you call home when you get to that point? So who are the consumers that you're trying to reach, and could you be offering them? You know what, Jason? This is a way to try to identify people who are earlier on in the decision process. So when somebody comes down, let's say somebody's hot water heater. Well, that's a misnomer. It's a water heater that makes the water hot. There really is no such thing. I had a water heater guy tell me that there's no such thing as a hot water heater. It's heating cold water, not hot water. That's a little funny side note there, but
There you go.
let's say your water heater goes out. You are in need of somebody to repair it right now. But for a lot of the other decisions, people are sitting down and trying to find out what's the best route to go here. And I'm going to tell you the number one resource for a lot of this is going to be somebody saying on Facebook, could you recommend somebody? So again, we've already talked about that's the most powerful thing. If we have access to free reports that solve their problems, they may be looking for those free reports to try to learn, what are the things that I should do in this case? If they Google it, our free report can come up, and then they're getting connected to us. So get a copy of that free report here. So be thinking about the things that, ways to interact with your consumer to provide them something of value. You can write the free report yourself. It's not that hard in a lot of cases. Business owner has the knowledge or expertise. It's just sometimes just thrown out on a blog, and when it's thrown out on a blog, there is no capture. So you'll notice the brilliance of the free report. Scroll down a little bit, if you would. It says empty nester, how to sell the place, and then there's a tease. So get this free report by completing the form on this page, and then I'm going to give them a couple of sentences to say, hey, here's what this free report's about. Then they have to give me something before I give them the report. So in our interface here, they fill this out and it automatically sends the report. So anybody that would want to create some things like that, that's definitely not difficult to customize around that.
So it's an exchange of information, really, is what's happening. There's getting some value here. It's not just this person in particular. It's not just, hey, hire me to sell your home. No, you're actually giving them some value. And empty nester, you look at how does this cross-promote what opportunities are there to cross-promote other businesses? Well, just in this transaction here, I'm thinking, there's going to be some extra money coming in. So we probably need to get a financial planner involved from the center into talking with this person. They're going to need to move, so there's going to need to be a mover associated to the center to get this business.
Right.
We're going to need to get the house ready to sell, so landscaper, cleaner, clean the carpets, clean the house, do all that kind of stuff. There's a landscaper, there's a home stager. They have to buy another house, so that's a real estate situation. There's all kinds of, the list just goes on and on. Insurance, home insurance, various things like that. So really,
and we're activating a principle here too. When you think about, if you followed Zig Ziglar, you help enough other people get what they want, you'll always get what you want. So think about that on two levels. One, the consumer, helping them get what they want. If we're in it just to, and our only purpose, well, I want to make $1 million, that is not a purpose. That's a goal, right? What's our purpose? The other people in the center, we're helping them and their businesses, and in turn, they're going to help our businesses. The principle that we're activating here, I love what author Andy Stanley says. He says that gravity is holding your feet to the ground whether you believe in it or not. A principle is something that works. It's always active. Well, if I know about gravity, I can use it to my advantage. So the more principles that I can understand and know that exist and use them to my advantage, the better. Instead of just, shoot, if I don't know about gravity, I could be trying to counteract the effects of gravity, but every time I throw the ball in the air, it's going to fall. Right? And then I can counteract the effects of gravity when I know about it. And that's how we, came up with flight. Somebody realized that enough thrust and enough lift combined together would counteract the effects of gravity. So being aware of the principle is the first step to being able to utilize that principle to its full benefit.
Definitely.
What do you got here?
Good insight there.
Yeah, Homes for Hockey.
This is an interesting one. This is a community fundraiser. So what they're doing here is actually 25% of the commission towards the sponsorship of your hockey team. That's definitely a big thing in Canada with the hockey, and a lot of hockey teams. What they do is they have they go to Boston Pizza or local restaurants, things like that, and anybody that gives the team name when they're ordering their food, they'll donate 10, 15, 20% of the bill towards the hockey team at the end of the year. So this is something simple. People utilize the real estate company, and they get a 25% of the commission donated as sponsorship back to the team.
That's awesome.
Oh.
That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it. It's about to get loud where I am right now.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground for today, and hopefully everybody's taken some good regarding this. I want to, as we get into some of these future sessions, be able to take some of those questions and talk about the development of USPs and everything else a little bit more. So we'll be back here again next week to just keep going in the path that we're going to help our businesses grow and head in the same direction.
Thanks very much, Ryan. Thanks for everyone for listening, and we'll catch up with you guys next time.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good talking with you. Bye now.